Hello, probers.
Howdy. God damn it, I wasn't ready.
Welcome to But It Was Aliens, the extraterrestrial comedy podcast brought to you by two former MIBs who are out here hiding in plain sight, bringing you the truth about the extraterrestrial.
Mibbing each other off.
Each week we take it in turns to mib each other off and bring you a case about how to help you open your eyes to what's really going on.
And I've never been probed, boss. Oh.
Now on to...
Sitting in the school bus.
Now on to the proper introductions. I'm your host this week, King of the Street Grannies and the bestest of best friends, Granny Moonwalker.
Oh.
And opposite me as always is the grey one. The tall one, the sleepy one, grey nuts, grey beard, grey bollocks, and grey balls, whatever you prefer to call him.
Grey genitalia, generally. Oh.
Some say that he'll never know a good night's sleep again. Others say that if he ever does have one, that it was just a dream. All I know is that he's Kevin the Grey, who owes me £4,500 of profit from his underpants business. Yes, I'm calling you an underpants gnome.
And I'm holding up the bypass. Whoa. It's $4,500 now. Didn't it start as like 100 quid or 50
It's
quid or
always
something?
been £5,000. What are you on about?
5? You said 4.5, damn it.
I said 7. What are you talking about?
I actually slept good last night.
No, you didn't.
I did.
You dreamt it.
I had the best night's sleep I've had in days.
So you think. The fact that you probably had a 3.5 hours sleep, and that's the best sleep you've had in days.
Oh.
This week, we're heading to Indiana. Short round.
No, I'm not short round. You're short round. Didn't I do that to you on the Indie episode? Indiana Greybeard and the Crystal Skull.
We're heading to a farm in Merrim.
I'm Indie.
Short round. It's November 6th, 1957.
Not short round.
Rene Gilham is a 33-year-old iron worker.
Gilham.
Rene was kicking back at home in the evening, probably smoking a pipe and drinking a beer, when, from out of nowhere,
Here comes Randy. Yep, there he is.
one of the neighbour's kids burst through his door looking for Rene's kid. In an excited, childlike squeal, they were urging for Rene's kid to come out and look at what they'd seen outside. Intrigued by what got the kids so excited, Rene and his wife decided to follow them outside. As they got out there, they saw that other neighbours were already out there staring up into the sky. Rene and co. looked up, and what they were greeted with was a circular object hovering in the sky at around 1,000 feet above them. Rene believes that it was roughly 30 to 40 feet across. And like we hear with most sightings, the craft was silent.
There's something in the sky, boss. Whoa. Don't know what the F it was.
Been proved, boss. So glad I've not been proved.
This, you said 57, didn't you? 53 or 57. Anyway, 50s.
$85,000.
Is what you owe me.
1957.
Oh. Is it usual for neighbours to burst through your door looking for their kid?
Never.
Why can they just burst? Like, if my neighbour walked into my house, I'd be, what the fuck? I mean, if Moxley hadn't already sicked them, I'd be throwing a chair or something. I'd be so shocked.
Same. I don't
My
know
neighbours are really nice.
I don't know if it's a sign of the times, because I know in my line of work I speak to a lot of older generation, and they say how when they were younger, doors would just be left open and people would just walk in and out of their neighbours' houses. So I don't know if that's so common back then.
Times have changed. But that just seems so bizarre to me. Like, imagine you're walking home from work and you're like, I'm thirsty. I'm just going to walk into Bob's house 2 doors down and grab myself a cup of water.
Absolutely mental.
What? And sit at the table and wait for Bob to come home from work, and his wife sat there. Oh, do you want some dinner? Just seems so alien. Oh. What if you were, like, you know...
You're about to say jacking it.
I wasn't. I was going to say sticking it to your partner. But what if you were jacking it, though? Why would the kid be there?
I'm so glad I've not been probed, boss.
So glad I've not been probed. Because I'm holding up the bypass. Oh.
I suppose back then, everything was probably so vanilla and, like, boring.
I really like vanilla.
In terms of that only happened at night. It only happened in the bedroom.
Scheduled.
Yeah.
9:15 on the dot.
Like, it was that type of thing.
Clean teeth at 9:16.
No random, like...
Popping out my penis. Oh. Hopefully my neighbour didn't see this. Oh. Jacked it on my sofa. Oh. So glad I'm not in school.
So yeah, maybe that's why there was never that risk.
Now you can jack it wherever you want, whenever you want.
Jacking it, jacking it.
Jacking in the kitchen. Whoa.
As they continued to watch the craft, stunningly bright beams of blue light would emanate from the belly of the craft, illuminating the area around them. His neighbours would start to go indoors because they are not as hard as Rene. Rene's wife would also urge him to go indoors as she was starting to shit her pants, but Rene is hard as nails. He was going to stay there.
His dad was Bruce Lee.
Whoa. The entire lyrics of the song just went through my head. Rene stood there perplexed at the marvel in front of him for around 10 minutes. The object in the sky didn't move. It didn't display any magical array of lights or sounds. It just hovered there, silent. But as Rene stood, he began to focus a little bit more intently. The sounds of the neighbours started to drown out, almost as if when you take nitrous oxide for a balloon in a uni house and everything goes quiet and you hyper-focus on the Pro Evo soccer menu music and find it hilariously funny, then realise you can't talk because you're in a laughing fit and starting to dribble a little. Kids, don't do drugs, okay?
Okay.
Well, as this happened to Rene, minus the drugs and fit of laughter, he could start to hear a faint sound that started to become a little louder. Electric in nature, Rene would in future say it resembled a high-speed electric motor.
Was he getting sucked off?
No.
Not as in robbed, as in...
No.
So the sound wasn't potentially a tractor beam hitting him?
No.
Probing in the towers. Oh.
I missed laughing gas.
In the field between mine and yours, there appears to be kids doing laughing gas recently because there's balloons
canisters.
and yeah, little buggers.
Yeah. Why are they playing it?
Moxley wants to eat them. Oh.
I mean...
And I tell him he can't have them. No.
I suppose it's illegal to do that now.
I don't really know.
I think it is because several people passed from doing it because it freezes. I suppose they were doing it straight from the canister, not from a balloon. Therefore, it's freezing their lungs.
Yeah.
But we would just go into a club and they were just selling it.
They'd sell them in clubs,
there.
yeah. Like on a little stool or whatever.
Spent so much fucking money on those. I remember me and a friend of ours literally stood there for about an hour and just constantly kept doing it.
Good times. Don't do drugs, kids. I'm just trying to remember what happened at the first start of that section because I was about to sneeze and didn't take half of it in.
Also, me and that same friend, so we used to work together.
Was that the guy who did that thing with the Twix fingers or the Kit Kat?
Yes,
yeah,
him.
Yeah.
We went to the local pub that we would always go to. We would order some food and we were like, right, we're going to get drunk tonight, but we're going to get drunk off beer and we're going to do it in shots.
Beer shots, yeah.
rather than drink it from a pint.
Yep.
2 beers in, fucked. Right.
Had a similar experience when I was at uni.
Literally 2 beers in. At one moment, he goes to me, he gets the shot glass, puts it into a fresh pint, like just dips it in, then does it. He goes, it's a self-pouring machine. 30 seconds later, does the exact same thing and says the exact same thing as if he'd said it the first time.
Glorious.
Good times.
Good times. So basically what we've got here in the case is a man standing outside looking up at a craft.
Yeah. Well, we regale tales of me and such and
You
such
and-
getting drunk. And
You
a
and
little high.
various substances.
Don't do drugs, kids.
For someone who says they've never done drugs, you sound like you've touched a lot of drugs.
I wouldn't even say I've dabbled.
Well, like you say, jokes aside, they used to sell laughing gas in nightclubs. It wasn't considered a drug.
Weed doesn't do anything for me.
Whoa. You know it's your case, don't you?
Yeah, but you were going back. I was expecting you to say something, but
No,
you lost yourself.
No, we just haven't. It's just a guy looking up and hearing an electric buzz. I wondered if the electric buzz was a...
Gilham.
No, that didn't occur to me. A tractor beam. Or whether he had actually already been sucked off and was inside a craft and hearing the buzz of the engine.
Sorry.
But no.
Maybe it was me reminiscing of Gilham.
You drifted off into the dark corners of your mind again.
And shortly after Rene would hear this sound, another smaller craft appeared, and then both crafts shot up into the sky, and the street was immediately engrossed in darkness. Rene would continue to stand there for a few minutes before returning indoors. Nothing else happened that evening, and nothing else happened the following day either. But on the 8th of November, shit began to kick off.
It kicked off, guys. Like when you have a few beers and then you get a balloon of laughing gas and you take it, then the music starts to thump inside you. Kicked off! Then you realise that everyone around you is dribbling.
Rene started to experience a slight bulge in his face.
Oh.
Rene's eye would also start to swell, but this would continue the following day and would also start to get worse.
So he had like a sty.
Possibly. Rene would also find himself scratching himself constantly. He couldn't stop. Wouldn't stop. It began to get too much for Rene. So what he did is what anyone sensible would do, and would go and seek medical assistance.
Yep.
I've noticed that in situations like this, we say that it's sensible to seek medical attention. Mm-hmm. Totally forgetting that in America, they have to pay for their health service.
Yeah.
So I can totally understand why at times people don't go. Thank fuck for free healthcare.
Yeah, I think the Labour Party introduced the NHS free healthcare in England. Was it developed in 1942 and implemented in 1948 or something like that?
Around that time, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, people complain about our healthcare all the time, and elements of it, don't get me wrong, can be bad, but be thankful that we've got anything.
Yeah, and it's free.
Yeah.
You fucking break your finger.
And then don't go and get it checked off.
You take your ass up to the NHS. Unless it's a Sunday night and you've got clients the following day and can't be bothered to wait for 7 hours.
For the next 2 years?
Just down a couple of whiskies and get on with life.
For the next 2 years?
I can still bend. Look, I can bend it. It's fine.
It must be pretty much healed by now.
Yeah. Just a little crooked. No, I can't handle. Pop it back in.
Why is there a picture of Sloth from the Goonies in the research notes? This is what we'd all be like without free.
His face swelled.
Oh,
and his eye swelled. He got the bulge in his head.
I hadn't even looked at the research notes. I was just chatting about the NHS. What would cause a bulging eye other than, like I said, standard explanation, skeptical would just be a random sty.
Bee sting.
What would
Wasp
be...
sting.
Yeah. But what would be a paranormal explanation?
Got punched by a ghost.
I was going to say got pink eye from an alien. Maybe if they were either probing different sensory organs, which you could see being possible if they were examining us, they'd probably be interested in how we perceive the world in comparison to them. So they might have fiddled with the eye or poked the eye in some way, shape or form.
Mm-hmm.
Or some sort of allergic reaction, assuming that he got abducted, of course.
I mean, there would have to be something out of the ordinary there for him to have an allergic reaction, considering he lives there.
Mm-hmm. Or
Boss.
Going back to the tractor beam idea, or just the craft idea, maybe it's gives off some form of radiation, and it's hit this chap's eye first, and other parts of his body may swell and become unwell in the future. Oh.
Rene went to see Dr. Dukes, and Doc Dukes urged Rene to seek urgent treatment.
Was that not what he was doing seeing the doctor in the first place? You need to see a doctor!
That's why I'm here, Doc. He stayed at the hospital for a few days and made a full recovery, so it would seem. However, when he was released, he soon got a visit from the United States Air Force.
Oh, damn.
As they questioned him, they would also let it be known to him that he shouldn't talk about this to anybody. What they didn't know is that he'd already told Dr. Duke, and Dr. Dukes, clearly not adhering to the confidentiality between patient and doctor, had run to NICAP and told one of their investigators.
God damn.
Frank Edwards. Frankie Boy would go on to investigate this and would alert the public about it too.
Have we met Frank Edwards before?
I do not believe we have.
Sounds really familiar.
But it's quite possible that we have. But I do not believe that we have. However, it's possible that we have.
But you also do not believe it.
But I also don't believe it.
But it is possible.
Very.
But you don't
I don't believe. The information given to Frank was that Rene's injuries looked like they were caused by overexposure to the rays from an electric welding torch.
That's very specific.
The doc believed that the cause was due to the bright blue light that shone down from the belly of the disc. Frank would continue his investigation and would speak to Rene. He would hear the story from Rene himself, and it would match up with what he was told by Dookie. Rene would completely recover from this incident, but would have to go to the hospital every year for blood tests. Whether he did this or not is a different question. Whoa.
Do we know whether those yearly blood tests were specifically for this or due to another condition or age, perhaps?
I'm so glad I'm not in school, boss.
So glad I'm not in school.
Sorry, what did you say?
My dad's Bruce Lee. Drives me around in his JCB. Annual blood tests.
Mm-hmm.
Could they have been due to an existing condition, another condition, or because of age rather than specifically related to this? Do we know either way?
So I'm holding up the bypass. Whoa. No, we don't. We have no fucking clue whether it's due to this or something else.
Oh, me and my dad having a top laugh. Oh.
Now, this is the part of the probe where we turn to science and skepticism.
Science!
Rene's burns were akin to overexposure from an electric welding torch. Well, these are the types of tools one would assume Rene would be using on a daily basis as an iron worker.
Jacking on the sofa.
Another investigator in the 2000s went to investigate this case again, but couldn't, as the record room that these files were originally in was subjected to a small fire which destroyed files and evidence of not only this case, but others too.
With Gordon the Gopher. Whoa. Whoa. That's suspicious. Very suspicious. Fire.
So to summarise, we have the case of Rene Gilham, who was relaxing at home after a long, hard day at work when he was startled by a neighbour's kid running into his house looking for his kids to show them something outside.
Get out of my house.
Intrigued by what got the kid so excited, Rene and his wife got up to join them outside and are stunned to see a giant craft hovering in the sky above them. They continued to watch along with their neighbours as the craft just sat there. Not long after, the craft began to shine a bright blue light which would completely illuminate their surroundings in a blue glow. Some neighbours and Rene's wife decided that they were going inside their houses to presume safety. Rene's wife tried to get him to come inside, but Rene was made of sterner stuff. He stood and watched as nothing would happen for a while, and then as he focused, he began to hear an electrical sound. The large craft was then joined by a smaller one, and then they shot up into the sky. Over the next few days, Rene would start to experience a bulge in his face, swelling of his eye, and constant scratching. He would go on to seek medical attention and would be told to seek urgent care, which he did and would supposedly make a full recovery from. Once he left the hospital, he was visited by the military, who told him not to utter a word to anyone. But little did they know, already had. He told his doctor, Dr. Duke, who ignored patient confidentiality and pegged it to NICAP to spill the beans. You peg it to NICAP.
Can't say that I would.
It was then investigated by Frank Edwards, who took up... Would you suck NICAP off?
No.
Who took it on board... It was then investigated by Frank Edwards, who took on board what the doctor said. He would also open it up to the public, presumably asking for any information about that night and what people saw, before investigating Rene and receiving the same info that he got from the doctor. We are unsure on whether or not Edwards believed that this was a genuine experience, as the file had gone up in flames due to a small office fire. But we do know that he believed that both Rene and Dr. Duke to be honest and trustworthy. So, what I'm asking you, Greybeard, is do you feel the same? Do you believe that Rene and Dr. Dookie are both honest and trustworthy? Is this aliens? Or is this bullshit? Whoa.
So, if the files went up in flames, how do we actually know about this one?
The official file by Edwards went up in flames, so it was documented by others, like
Who?
the press and other things.
Where did they get hold of it from?
So when Edwards came out, he put it out to the public. So it was
before the file went up in
Yes.
flames. Okay, so there was nothing really left
the
file that hadn't already come out.
The file didn't go up in flames like a year or so after the case. It probably a fire in the 2000s,
okay, so that's
or
less
just
suspicious
before.
then. What happened to the kid who saw it? Oh,
What kid?
the neighbour came running in to get the other kid because he wanted to show him what he saw, and then the guy went out and had a look. So what happened to that kid?
Fuck that kid. This is Rene's story.
He got whacked. Well, I'm not saying that it was aliens, because that is a hole that needs to be filled. Could have chose better terminology
You
there.
really could have.
What I mean is that there's loose ends.
There's plenty. Where's the story
Yeah.
from the neighbours?
Yeah.
Like all the neighbours, the wife, his kid, the kid that burst in through the door.
Ooh.
There's a lot of accounts here that are unaccounted for.
The military,
Yep.
they would release the files by this point. They might be redacted, but obviously we've seen huge dumps of thousands upon thousands of investigations. That information would be there, wouldn't it?
Would indeed.
Yeah. Too many loose ends, sadly.
It's aliens. That's what you're saying?
You're an alien? Oh.
Whoa. So yeah, for me,
Probing on the sofa. Oh.
this is not aliens due to lack of evidence from further witnesses.
Lack of evidence in general.
Further
would argue.
witnesses. And I cannot trust a doctor who would break doctor-patient confidentiality.
Yeah,
and
that's...
scarp her off to NICAP. So, do I believe he is honest and trustworthy? In the But It Was Aliens way of honest and trustworthy, yes. Thank you for joining us for this week's Probe. Oh. You can find us
on the socials.
and at But It Was Aliens. That's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We have a Facebook group unknown but known as Extraterrestrial Towers. Whoa. And you can find us on Patreon.com/ But It Was Aliens. Where for the cost of less than a coffee, you can have access to side probes where we probe into things outside of the extraterrestrial. Also, whilst we're talking about coffee, I haven't had a coffee for 2 weeks now.
What?
And I feel so much better for it.
Do you?
I honestly do.
In what way?
I feel I've got more energy. I'm more awake. I'm more alert. I am buzzing off of not having coffee.
What are you having instead?
Fruit.
Fruit and laughing gas and beer.
I've literally replaced my walks to get coffee to walk and get fruit. And I felt so much better for it.
Well, that's disgusting. I implore you to stop.
Whoa. Pardon me.
Would you like a coffee?
No.
Come and get some caffeine.
Now, I haven't said I've stopped caffeine.
I've
stopped coffee. Still take pre-workout.
Loophole, baby.
Side probes, where you can find pirates, ghosts, goats, peg princes, and Rasputin's dick. Whoa. I have been Moonwalker, and he has been Greybeard. Remember, the truth is up there. #probe.
Probing on the Twitter. Doing it on the shitter.
I'm so glad we're not in school, boss.
I'm glad we're not in school, boss. Shitting on the sidewalk. Holding on my pork sword.